Come on, let me click the button. I like
Get
the
your vocal
button.
exercises out.
La la la. There we go. Okay, we're going. We're going.
All right.
All right. Not yet. All right, we are live. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics, and I've got quite a few interesting folks alongside me today. We're doing our first IronVerse Comics interviews. This time it's with two amazing creators. One is the editor for Tom and Artie. The other is the creator. They're also working on the comic Bite. With me is the creator of Cactus Coyote. Dollar coins. And is there much more you folks need to say about yourselves? You can go ahead now.
No, I think you pretty much have covered the intros very, very well.
Well, good. I
Robert.
tried. I maybe even ran a little too fast, too quickly.
No, like I said, you just identified. Yes, I'm Robert. I'm the creator of Tom and Artie and Bite, main writer on it. Over down here is my editor, Mike slash co-writer slash friend, also slash comic creator himself.
What's up, Mike?
How about slash something more?
No, you gotta wait a little bit into that to go more into what you do on the side.
Right. So I happen to hi, I'm Mike. I happen to be the editor for Bite as well as Tom and Artie. Come up with a lot of fun lines and bouncing off of Rob for that. Previously worked in the video game industry. Love doing that, and also dabble in the tabletop gaming industry. So it's like, yeah, I'm a Renaissance man as far as nerds go.
Cool.
Aren't we all? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you folks to explain your projects. I've been a fan of Tom and Artie since I've seen it. I might have even done a little bit of work regarding Tom and Artie, and I'm super excited to talk to you folks. And go ahead and pitch yourselves to the IronVerse Comics audience.
All right, let's see. Where do I start first? Well, since you already mentioned Tom and Artie, I'll start with Tom and Artie. Now, Tom and Artie is a comic that is really simple premise. You have a military unicorn with his cartoon wildcard buddy. Both work as mercenaries in a multi-dimensional setting. They travel across different worlds, well, mostly dimensions, in search of profit and adventure. They're just looking for their next paying gig. It's an action comedy comic. That's the pitch for Tom and Artie. Now let's go on to Bite. Now, Bite, we're still ironing out the pitch for it, but here it is. What would happen if the Street Sharks were created by Cobra, and then Cobra goes bankrupt and leaves the Street Sharks to their own devices? And there you got Bite.
Oh man. Well, see, you got me sold on both those just by the pitches. Extremely well done. I was a big fan of Street Sharks when I was a kid. I don't know if it was the visuals, if I just wanted another Ninja Turtles knockoff. Either way, I was so
was
happy.
Weird. It was weird with that because I always thought Street Sharks was a. I didn't think it caught much of that of an audience because I remember one weekend, me and Mike, we just watched like I think 5 episodes of Street Sharks over YouTube. And no, we watched Street Sharks and we watched Extreme Dinosaurs. I'm not sure if everyone here, if the audience have seen Extreme Dinosaurs, but it had the most kick-ass theme song.
Extreme
really
Dinosaurs
on planet number 3.
Yeah, great. No, you don't get that anymore. God damn it! I'm glad you guys are bringing it back.
Songs anymore. What happened to that?
I don't know. I think just everybody's taking everything too damn seriously these days. Everything's got to be perfectly laid out and designed, and can't have too much fun. But yes, you can.
I'm sure if I dropped it right now, I think all of us could probably sing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song.
No, we're not starting that.
I could.
Starting that.
No, the mummy's alive.
That will be after hours, people.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
It's weird because I remember when we got back from SVCC, I thought I saw that Street Sharks was trending, and I was thinking, "Oh crap, this is our moment. This is our moment to advertise." And then I looked into why it was trending, and I saw it was just because Jessica Negri gave a post about Street Sharks or biker mice something, and shit, I'm not gonna get anything from this.
Biker mice from Mars.
I actually like Biker Mice from Mars.
I have not watched that yet.
I
It's
have
on
not
my
either.
list.
The one thing I like the concept of Street Sharks. As a kid, I thought, oh man, this is kind of cool. This is great. Like there's all these sharks, and then they're actually swimming in the streets and tearing things up.
I was always
And I thought that was
confused
great,
about.
but then it's like the show sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. Every single one of the street sharks is completely interchangeable from the other.
That was the problem. And also, I always wondered when they would swim through the street, like, are they actually swimming or are they just eating all the concrete in their way? That was one of my private things.
I'm unsure. When I was a kid, I always thought it was just like some kind of super strength or something smashing
Yeah,
through
that's what
that.
I thought too. No, the
They
funny
were
thing.
so roided. They were so roided.
Well, they were a bunch of jocks
was
too,
the
right? That was the whole bit, and they even tried to have like a nerdy jock. It was
No, I couldn't even tell who was who.
it was a hell
even
of
with,
a
like different species. Everyone was. It's like Mike
Yeah.
said, they were all interchangeable.
No, there was
yeah.
one I could actually remember, and I think his name was Blades, or was it Streaks?
Oh, the guy with the
Streaks,
rollerblades,
yeah,
He was the
right?
one on the rollerblades.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
he
their
was the great
Michelangelo.
Was he? I remember him from the show because when I saw the first episode, I just remember when he was human, he ran into a hotel room and pushed past like some of the staff there, and then he took an elevator to the roof, and then he base jumped off the roof and like pulled out a parachute, and I was just like, all right, I guess this is a thing that people do. This is the '90s after all. This is a thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Especially if you're some kind of mutant shark teenager.
No, this
Why
was
wouldn't you do
before he
that?
was a mutant. He did that while he was human. I guess to like show how
What?
extreme they are. You know, the '90s, everyone was
Pretty
extreme.
extreme. Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
remember Rocket Power.
Yeah, all that what do you call it? That extreme sports trend of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the weird thing is with the Street Sharks things is that with Bite originally was gonna be a joke comic that me and Mike were doing as like a gritty Street Sharks reboot.
Yeah, I wanted to do kind of like a true Hollywood story or VH1 behind the music kind of
I
thing.
just came to him one day. I was just like, dude, we should reboot Street Sharks. We should totally do it. And I started writing up the script. I was writing up the outline and the script, and I was gonna do like the action scenes of the supposed pitch, and Mike was doing the more behind the scenes look when they're pitching it to publishers and all that. But as I was writing it, I was just like, you know what? I'm actually liking this. This actually is pretty kick ass to me. So I stopped talking to him about the idea for like a month or so. And the thing is with Mike, if you aren't talking to him about the idea, he's not gonna ask about it anymore. So then I come.
Well, what am I gonna do, man? I'm just gonna say, well, hey, hey, what about this one thing? What are you doing? Like, hey, how about that, man?
No, I just come back with the pitch for Bite. I come back for the pitch with Bite, and the funny thing is that Mike, I could tell he was not with it originally when I first pitched it to him. He was
I
not.
gotta
He was
say,
not
I was a little not as
enthused.
sold as I was previously, but I did like the whole mashup concept that it wasn't straight street sharks. It wasn't like just some kind of uh I was worried it was just going to be like a First Blood knockoff.
No, and then
Yeah.
that's when I introduced the elements of GI Joe in there with Dread.
GI Joe Dread, but then also kind of do it in more in the style of like a crazy balls to the wall R-rated.
It was a
80s
Quentin.
action
It was
movie.
basically a Quentin Tarantino movie. It was in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Is,
You got me sold. Quentin Tarantino does the Street Sharks. I'm already like my God.
There's
less talking though.
There's less. That's good. That's good.
No, it's because like when I did it, I was mostly looking at I was watching Quentin Tarantino movies and I was watching Robert Rodriguez movies.
I'd more
Because
pin it as Robert Rodriguez, actually.
I was
Okay.
thinking that
Especially
too.
like Dusk
Yeah.
Till Dawn.
Yeah, no, it's because I was watching like Desperado because I was getting like ideas for action sequences.
So
No,
good.
in like one weekend, the 3 films I watched to give me ideas for action sequences were Commando, Desperado, Way of the Gun, and John Wick.
Oh.
That's 4, dude.
Way, sorry, I threw the Way of the Gun in there because I just remembered how badass the Way of the Gun was.
Very much so. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and go take this moment. Acknowledge folks in chat. Claylex, thank you so much for being here. Great to have you. Great to see you.
Claylex.
Gorgonite
Hey.
Emissary, thank you, Gorgonite. Present, accounted, and erect. Thank you. Gorgonite again, provided Cody doesn't go full Zoomer. I have it so far. Okay. So far the tech difficulties were all off being live, so we're good so far. My shillbot is there. Thank you. Dalla. Gorgonite. Yep, me. And thank you for being here, Rebirth. Always good to see you. Latest sub today, too, which was nice. Thank you so much. All right. So,
All right, good to see everyone.
yeah, lots of good folks. As always, folks in chat, folks showing up, throw questions in chat. We'll get to them as we can. I always appreciate questions. It allows me to keep talking and talking and talking because, you know, that's why you're here, right? Yeah, so what were, well, you spoke a lot of the inspirations on Byte. So how about Tom and Artie?
Tom and Artie, the idea was actually really different from when I first started it. Because when I first started Tom and Artie were actually antagonists in the first draft of the story. They were antagonists for 2 different. The dimension hopping thing was still there, but the protagonists were 2 like insectoid beings named BB and F. Also just like throwing in there, they did not make like the cut into like the final version. The only one in the cast who made the cut into like the final version, well, actually 2 were Mizoon and Ailey.
Was it like
And
supposed to be spy versus spy or something?
you said what?
Was it supposed to be like spy versus spy?
Not really spy versus spy. No, it was more like it was kind of the same, except in the original versions, BB and F were more just interdimensional scavengers. They weren't mercenaries,
Uh,
so they were more just going to different dimensions to steal random stuff to sell. And after that, it was mostly because when I was writing Tom and Artie, when they were introduced as antagonists for like 1 issue in my draft, I started writing them more, and I realized I actually like them a hell of a lot more as protagonists than the other 2. So I switched some stuff around, I changed some names, and it became Tom and Artie.
did you like draw any inspiration from like the Felix the Cat or
Oh yeah, some
Yeah.
mostly
Sam and
Oswald.
Max?
It was Sam and Max, Oswald, little My Little Pony in there. I won't lie as well, and several FPS games, but that was mostly on Tom's part. I was trying to remember. Oh no, I remember what really peaked for Tom's military career, which is an odd one, because I got the idea for Tom's military persona and background after watching documentaries and testimonies from people that served in the Vietnam War.
Okay, I could see that.
I
Okay.
know it's weird because
No,
like
it's good. I like that. I mean, it's a. I guess by weird, it's a very contrasting thing to put together. But I'm all about that. You know,
well, yeah, it was
putting the
supposed to
silly
be.
with some very heavy serious. I always
Yeah,
love that.
it was supposed to be because Tom in his home dimension of several wars that have happened there. His dimension is basically a Candyland thing, but basically everyone's fighting all the time. No one likes each other. There's always a different campaign of warfare starting up like every week there. So Tom has a long list of traumatic things that have happened to him because of his home dimension, which is why he's so stoic now and he doesn't really talk. Well, he doesn't really talk when he doesn't have to. It's also supposed
He's
to
a
play
man of few words.
exactly. It's supposed to play into the fact that Tom has this hasn't been displayed just of yet, but you kind of see glimpses of it in Tales and like issue 1 and 2, is that Tom has some acute skills besides just shooting. Like, he's really good at singing, but the reason he's good at singing isn't just because of, oh, hey, unicorns gotta be happy go lucky all the time. No, he's good at singing because when they were fighting one combatant, like these teddy bear beings that apparently had a weakness for singing, as soon as they heard singing, they had to break out into dance. So him and his, like, battalion were trained to sing as well as they could. And then they would just waltz into the base singing, and while the bears were all dancing, they just gunned them down.
Oh
Yeah,
boy, yeah, I got
All right, man. Lock and load, and then jazz hands.
Jazz hands, exactly.
There you go.
Very Conquer.
Oh,
Singing.
Conquer, yeah, I could see that, but most like
Yeah,
Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
Oh, that was one of my. That was like Conker's Bad Fur Day is one of the few games from N64 and Xbox era that I regret not playing. I
Oh.
really wish I did.
Yeah, I've
That's what
gotten
the
pretty
Imagine
far in it.
Generations
It's pretty entertaining. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But I played the N64 one, so it comes with all the older game baggage. So it's a lot harder to stick with these days.
Oh yeah, that's very true. But I was always a fan of. I've always liked looking at things about Conker because there was just something about it. Normally, I'm not a big fan of like the whole we're gonna make a reboot that's all gritty and mature. But Conker just did so well.
But Conker was already kind of juvenile and everything, and I thought the whole maturity thing was just them going to take the piss out of like super serious to Terminator kind of thing.
I thought it was that, and they were just like wanted to be different at the time because this was back when like platformers were plentiful on N64 and PS1 and everything.
Yes.
So I just remember when Conker came out. I still remember when I was in like a game shop when I was younger, and I actually pointed at it, and I told my parents I wanted that game. My mom took one look at it, and she was like, "Nope."
But you fight a giant piece of crap.
Look,
I
you're
don't-
playing a cute little squirrel.
Yeah,
what you
but
have
then
to worry about?
Yeah, but then the thing is, my
There's
parents
Sonic
actually
Dance
pay
numbers.
attention to like the mature ratings. At least until I was 15, or like less than that. I can't remember.
That's how it goes. Couple more people in chat I want to shout out. Thank you, Bruce Patnod, for showing up. Prolific artist, part of Team IronVerse Comics. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Gorgonite again. Present accountant A Rect. So since he got me to say it, he's quoting me on it. That's how you do me, Gorgonite, huh? That's how you do me. So originally his story was about dimensional hopping gypsies, insect gypsies, Gorgonite. And I would say scrappers, not gypsies, from what
Yeah,
I'm
around
understanding.
I'd like to think that those characters would also be scalping Comic-Con tickets.
yeah, most likely if I ever rework them back into like the comic. So far, I haven't.
Well, I mean, that would be cool. I would love to see you go full circle with that. That would be pretty neat. Scott K, how's everybody just listening as he gets ready for bed? Thank you for showing up, Scott. Happy to just have your ears on us. That's fucked up. I love it. I'm assuming Gorgonite is referring to Tom's origin story.
Yeah.
My Shillbot is saying to go buy some IronVerse Comics gear, so I'm going to go
Hey.
ahead and say that. Please do.
Yes, please
Gorgonite, let's see. But, I can't read that. But, Moom, you get to bounce on a flower's giant tits. That is true.
That's always a plus.
In Conkers, yeah, that's very true. Gypsies, insects, same thing. Woo, Gorgonite. Woo.
Oh my god.
That
Woo.
edge.
You just want to get me another quote on that, don't you? Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, I like Gypsy and MST3K.
Richard
Basehart.
You were the one that was. I think you were trying to pitch before that Tom and Artie should have had a gypsy character, right, Mike?
Did I?
Did I? It's like there's a lot of things. I
just toss things at a wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah, there was like we were actually discussing something for issue 3, and Mike wanted a scene where Tom, because I put up a post the other day saying that what issue 3 needs, a walking eye It needs like one of those walking eyes. Yeah,
A
from Johnny
walking
Quest,
eye.
because I was thinking about it and I was just like, why the hell? I'm in a lab of super scientists in this setting, and I have not put in a walking eye. There needs to be a walking eye. And
It's,
so I
you
actually
aren't
had,
wrong. You have to have a walking eye. It's like the
yeah,
pinnacle symbol of super science at this
you
point.
need to have a walking eye. So I tell Mike, I was just like, we're gonna get a walking eye in this comic, and the first thing he tells me is just say, oh, we're gonna throw a barrel at it, right?
Just let me throw a barrel at it.
We're gonna have Tom throw a barrel at it, right? And I was just like, yeah, let's see if I can make that happen.
What about those flying scooters they had on Johnny Quest?
Those flying scooters that they routinely.
We are
They-
actually working
they
on
sit on
something
them.
similar.
I was trying to see like how many. I wanted to see how many like science or sci-fi references I could cram in for 3.
Gotta have
And
a death beam then, some kind of.
the death beam was
yeah.
already in 2. There was already like a death beam in 2.
Okay, well there you go.
You can have Tom on a table with like a laser going up, like James
Cover
Bond.
cover of issue 2.
Oh,
Cover of let me
Great minds
Oh,
think
yeah.
alike.
cover
Yeah,
of issue
that was
2. I
already-
can pull that right on up. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There it is.
Yeah, just already the classic death beam laser cover, because that was the first thing that popped in my head.
I'm pushing for maybe like the Roman or the Interocitor.
The funny thing was that I did like a survey recently with some people for issue 3, and I was mostly asking about issue 2. I was asking what did people like about it, what they didn't like, what they think would be a lot better to change on it. And a lot of people liked it. A lot of people tell me that they really enjoyed where the comic was at currently. But when it came into the part of improvement, yeah, there were some things I had to look back on. But one of the key things of improvement that people were asking me was, is there going to be more Dara? There was a character that just appeared in issue 2, like in the last 3 pages, like this mouse girl that pilots a mech.
She's a lab rat.
Yeah, she's a. I've been correcting people on her
Yeah,
being a
you've
rat,
been going on
I'm here
that.
calling her. I'm here calling her a mouse.
She's a rodent. We get it.
Yeah, and it was
See, rats are cooler. They're more chill. They're more friendly. Unlike mice. Mice will bite your hand the second you try to
Exactly.
feed it.
And no, when I introduced her, there was like my friend Jamil, like creator Jasper Gold. He put the page out in a few of his groups, and there were people that were jumping in just because of this character. Like I'm not lying. When I started up when I came back in that day, like a day after the update, to see where my page views were, that had jumped to like 373.
Woo. Yeah, so I think you got a character there that's got a little bit of gold attached.
Yeah, Dara's gonna be the new Scrappy Doo.
Yeah. I'm not gonna leak anymore. That's gonna go into leak. That's gonna go into leak territory.
Mouse sea power instead, and she's a rat. It would work.
Well, no, it was
She's got power armor. She's okay, but Scrappy Doo breathed new life into Scooby Doo, and
no, it was
before everyone, kind of poo-pooed on Scrappy. But
well, it's mostly because people were jumping in on her because they found her cute. Like
Yep.
someone told me they thought Dara was adorkable, and I was just like, she just appeared. Then again, this isn't the first time something like this happened. Mike, you remember when we introduced Ether in Tales and the response to that guy?
Ah, yes.
We introduced another character, a Pegasus girl named Ether. I introduced her as a one-off character for a Valentine's Day special. And as soon as the post went up, and like a day after, I had people in my server, like one of my Discord servers, they were asking me, "Oh, is Ether going to be in the main comic? Is she going to appear again?" And
She does have a pretty cool design, I will admit.
Yeah, and the design was done entirely by my other artist, Gilly. Gilly the Silly. because I chose her to draw that tail story, and I went to her that day, and I was just like, "Hey, can you make like a Pegasus character, like a female Pegasus character?" I didn't give her any instruction beyond that. I was like, "Could you just design a Pegasus character for this script idea I have?" And she said, "Oh, okay, I got you." And then she comes back like a day later with that design. I was just like, "That's perfect. Let's roll with that."
Yeah,
She gave me
when you nail a character design, it happens pretty quick. People either attach to it right away or they don't. And yeah, you'll get a very strong response. Jack Irons was one of those. I was very lucky on that. Got a lot of fan art out of it. Got a lot of fans been able to leverage that, and a lot of it, if not all of it, is that character design.
You know what's so weird? Like one of the character designs I thought was badass in Jack Irons, and this is gonna be weird. It
Oh,
was that robot he fought at the end of one in the bar.
yeah, that was very cool. I had the only input I had is when it got colored, I wanted to make sure it was RoboCop blue.
That's a loss. I was just like, oh man, why is this robot?
RoboCop 1 or RoboCop 2?
That's two, right? That'd be two if you're going for like that massive, that really blue color.
Yeah, it's a deep blue. It's a deep blue, so it's got to be 2 then.
I mean, did he not go with it? Because I feel like maybe if he went with that big blue color, it would have looked really weird in the scene at that bar. Because I remember that bar had kind of like a drabby color vibe to it.
Well, it's purples and greens, and oranges. Kind of a. It's supposed to look, dystopian. It's not supposed to look too friendly. But towards the end of it, our colorist Matthias Laborde, during the fight scene, he wraps up the colors quite a bit. It gets quite explosive during the fight. Lots of reds and oranges, and his blue pops against that really well.
Especially with that kick-ass bandana. I don't
Yeah,
know
the
why,
bandana,
but
man.
The bandana just
yeah.
completed it for me.
It really did. It was such a cool design. He gave him the big, angry robot claws that he doesn't really get a chance to use. He just gets a shoulder cannon and then he gets murdered.
Yeah, but he's a robot. You can always reuse the design if you want.
You can bring it back.
Yep.
It's like I always suggest those dumb things, those little dumb things when it comes to characters, just because I want to see it.
Yeah.
I will be the guy because I've worked on like different group projects. So while everyone would suggest something like, "Hey, let's give him claws," or let's give him boots that levitate," I'll be that guy that comes in and goes like, "What if we give him like a shoulder cape? What if we give him glasses? Now glasses are cool."
Glasses are cool.
It's that thing I do for I'm trying to remember sometimes because even on Byte we're still in planning phases for some of the designs, and I've gone over this with Dollar before when we've spoken on Twitter about some of the designs for Byte, mostly relating to a few of the dread characters because like I said, I talk about this with Dollar, I talk about this with Mike because we're still working on designs for the Dreadmaster and the Dread Mistress. And, I'll elaborate on who they are exactly later. Because the whole thing is that the Dreadmaster is essentially Cobra Commander. He's essentially the old school Cobra Commander. But the difference is that he's not as wacky as he would be counted as from the TV show, the cartoon. He's more of the kind of guy that would be so charismatic in their words that no matter what they say, you'll follow them right down to hell and back.
Yeah, that'll happen. I'm gonna go into chat one more time. Let's see. The internet found her cute. Oh no. Rule 34 and furry Twitter peek their heads out from the corner. I bet that was part of the a small part of the momentum. Scott says sometimes he's glad his project is in grayscale, less to think about. Very true. Though seeing a completed comic page with colors, lettering, all of that, it's a hell of a thing. I can speak from experience.
It's magic, people.
It really is. But even a black and white, when I first got Jack done and got it lettered, that was a hell of a thing too. So it's steps. What I would do in your case, Scott, is make sure he does it in grayscale and black and white, and that way you can always get it colored later.
Oh yeah, that's a very good idea.
Dollar colors always make it pop. That's basically what I was just saying, and I'm sure it'll benefit your comic. Yeah, very, very true. He does the comic called Wrath under Wicked Publishing. I believe the crowdfunder's coming again here pretty dang soon. It's about a kid who manifests his traumas into an actual physical. It's kind of a dog spirit, dog demon kind of thing. And I'm looking forward to that. It seems to be a little bit of a psychological exploration piece, and that's right up my alley.
It's Calvin and Hobbes meets Cujo.
It's still that still sounds
That's your
badass.
sales pitch right there, Scott. Calvin and Hobbes
Yeah.
meets Cujo. That's pretty good. I like that.
That sounds badass. I'd read that. And he says Calvin and Hobbes. First thing I thought of when he mentioned that was just Spencer and Locke.
Well, Spencer and Locke is just pretty much Calvin and Hobbes joins the police.
What are you talking about? Like Spencer and Locke is just like Calvin and Hobbes HBO special. Not deriding anything. I freaking love Spencer and Locke.
I'm unfamiliar with Spencer and Locke, to be fair, but I've been a superhero reader forever, so that's kind of how it goes.
Oh, trust me, I am too. Like, when the boys first came to Amazon, I was so worried.
Yeah.
I was worried more in the fact of, okay, we're now gonna have the mainstream audience get introduced to the idea of dark superheroes.
And Ennis's approach instead of Moore's approach, because they tried that with Watchmen.
Yeah, the show actually did way better with the comic than I thought it was gonna do.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Which is ignore the comic almost completely.
Well, it was more of a let's take these characters who in the comic got like just very, very simple characterizations and actually try to give them some more depth. Mostly to the Seven. Like, the main hero group in there. I know a lot of people weren't really too enthused about what they did do with the boys group, like, Mother's Milk and the female. And also the fact that Hughie wasn't played by dang it, what's his name? British guy. Come on, he was in Hot Fuzz.
Oh, Simon Pegg.
He was
Yes,
Scotty in the
yeah.
first
Simon
track.
Pegg.
Yeah, Simon Pegg. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because like Hughie was originally designed to look like he was designed to look like Simon Pegg.
But they
about
got him as the dad.
Yeah, they got him as a dad though.
They did get him.
For some people, they were just like, "Oh, that's not good enough. I want Simon Pegg as the lead."
Well, who doesn't? I always enjoy his work. I've just been impressed that something from Garth Ennis has finally gotten some hardcore mainstream attention. It's been a long time coming. He's probably the writer that got me into making comics with his Ghost Rider Road to Damnation and his Punisher Max work. And since then, I just.
Punisher Max, it's always like I thought it was a shame that the Netflix series got canceled because I was really hoping for season 3 they would have brought in Barracuda.
Barracuda, yeah, no, that would have been just so good.
That was the only comic I had left to read. I didn't get into it.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Or you can also pick up on like that. And the good thing is, they recently confirmed that he's coming back to write another Punisher Max story.
Yeah, I was stoked with that. I mean, it's not going to be bad. It's Ennis. The latest work I've read of his is Sarah from TKA Studios. Did any of you catch that? It's a very independent book. It was him, Liz Breitweiser, and Stephen. Oh God, he's a Captain America artist. Stephen Epting.
Right.
Stephen Epting. It's about the female Russian snipers in World War II. It's loosely based on a real story from the most famous female sniper in history, and it was really well done, extremely well done. He nails military books every damn time.
Oh yeah, and he loves military stuff. You can tell.
I heard good stuff about that one.
Yeah, it's I can't sing the praises
out.
enough. Yeah, I can't
I've
really.
seen it.
I had bought it when it first came out, and then they did a 2-for-1 sale, which made me kind of worry. I think they overprinted everything at TKO, thinking they would hit the ground running. And so I picked up a couple of the other books. And Goodnight Paradise is about a homeless guy who's trying to solve somebody's murder that nobody else is really caring about. He found the girl dead in a dumpster. It's a depressing book. It's as depressing as you expect, but it's real. It was good. And I haven't gotten to the Seven Deadly Sins, which is their Western. But I'll get to it eventually. But so far, they've been doing good work. Their second round of books doesn't really have anything I'm interested in, though, so that's also kind of worrying. But Sarah, if all I got out of TKO is Sarah, I'm fucking happy.
Oh, that's fine with me. Like I said, I'm more of a guy that if the one thing I would like about in this books is that when he, especially when there's Punisher, is that it's just the gun detail. If you get a comic that has like cool looking guns or it's just like accurate looking, you got me on board. I
Yeah,
always
there you
find
go.
it weird when you get like an artist on there on a gun focused character and they can't draw guns. Well, what's the point? What's the point then? What is
Oh,
the point?
I'd like to think of the opposite, like say Kota Hirano, who did Hellsing. Kota
yeah.
Hirano, he just designs the guns, but he knows they're completely unrealistic. And to the point, he just actually says, like, "Don't talk to me about details. I just wanna make these tactical and leave it at that."
Oh yeah, no, it's because we were trying to do some of that for Bite as well. I was writing in some of that with these tactical scenes because I'm the kind of guy where I can get ideas from scenes by just going on the International Movie Firearms Database and just reading through a list of guns for movies, and I just think about like a situation which would have like a corresponding weapon in there. Like I wanted to see if I could throw some details like that into the bike comic. Like there was one scene I was writing where a character is clearing an area, like clearing an apartment block with a shotgun. It's probably the location's probably gonna change, but the rules are still the same. And I wanted to actually keep count of how many shots he has in the shotgun, like how many he actually holds. And anytime I had the scene planned where he was ascending the stairs, I wanted at least a few shots that would show him in like putting each shell into the shotgun, like 1, 2, 3, and then racking it before he gets to the next floor.
Yeah, no, those beats, those story beats. You're right. Ennis is really good at those. And setting up the use of the weapons, like the scene in Max where he kills the 100-year-old mafia don, and then just gets everybody to run out while he casually walks back behind a rock, picks up the pig sticker, and just starts unloading on him. Those story beats, I think, and the ability that he does it with such a cold humor with Frank, that's my jam.
Oh yeah, he is one of
That's
the
my
few. He
that's my
was one of the
jam.
main writers. He gets Frank. He gets Frank.
You know,
I
one other guy I think does guns really well is Kenichi Sonata, who did Gunsmith Cats. I love that book. Up until they did a new like more of a continuation after being on ice for so long. Never liked the ending, but if you ever wanted to see like uh a action series where they try everything with guns, go see that. It, like where he does a lot of cool technical detail to it, but he also even considers like how the guns work and move and behave, and actually incorporates that into a comic scene. And I think that's very clever, where the main heroine actually uses her gun in one instance, just she has no time to actually turn to her intended target, who is right next to her. She has absolutely no time, but she fires anyway, knowing that the shell will actually hit the empty casing will hit the guy in the head, and it's going to be hot and it's going to be annoying, and that's the brief moment she needs to drop and then start firing on the guy.
That's attention to detail right there.
That's great. That's a
Yeah.
great plotted, very quick, very short scene that I bet in the comic. That's about probably about a page, maybe a couple panels.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's a couple seconds, but it's such a powerful storytelling and personality moment, and that's
Yeah,
great.
those books always got me going. I mean, they're essentially just great little action movies in the form of comics.
So It's always good to have those little blurbs in action. It's always good to have an action scene in comics that just sticks with you, or that you're really proud to see actually get drawn up. Like the entire thing is just planned out in your head, and to see that execution just so perfectly, that there's no better feeling than that.
Yeah, and I get tired of seeing like movies, shows, cartoons, comics all get everything wrong with guns. Like hell,
Oh
even Star Trek had like this great
no, you
two-parter where
should.
they went back in time, but every time it even featured the gun store owner from the Terminator, the one who got shot. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
just what you see on the wall here, buddy. Uh but they kept chucking their shotguns. They kept cocking them back like it was some kind of badass maneuver, and it's like, guys, you're dumping out live shells.
Yeah.
They keep doing that, or where they just take a clip out and then just say, "Here, it's unloaded."
I'm sure you guys have seen the famous Simpson one where the guy's putting a clip in a revolver.
Oh, you mean the one
Oh,
that picture?
yes.
Oh, the one I
Yeah.
posted, and it got like 400 likes and crap.
Yeah, it's
Oh yes.
it's such a disconnect and such a fear of firearms out there with the people who have that
I
that
couldn't even tell.
platform that it's just they don't care to put the attention to detail, to put the
Well,
respect in there, and so it's yeah, you just end up with that.
if,
I think
if I
so- I
could,
think
I
we
could
probably-
actually give you a short story about.
Are you gonna tell
my
them about
imprint.
when you worked as a game tester for like Dead to
Yeah, I
Rights?
work
Oh.
in video games. Okay, so I was actually working on one game, and there I was just testing out all the different weapons, and I find out like you could get like several different revolvers, and so I tried them all out, and then I noticed something that was there that shouldn't be there, as in when you fire, a casing flies out of the chamber. It's like, that's not how revolvers work, or
Guys,
at
it's-
least
Oh.
commercial revolvers work. There are some funky revolvers that people have done that auto ejects casings. That's kind of funky, but I'm not talking about those. But
Hey,
yeah, I looked at that and did it all up, and they actually removed out the animation from the revolvers. And I told a friend this, and then he went back to playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and he did that, and he noticed that if you pick the revolvers, shell casings come out of it.
While you're firing instead of a dumping animation. That's funny. Yeah, that's that disconnect, and you would expect even then, if you didn't know, you would research. But you know, you expect too much of people sometimes when it
Well,
comes
yeah,
to
I
small
mean-
details.
yeah, it all depends on the type of story they want to tell. I mean, if that's not the focus of the story, that's not going to get the most detail.
Yeah, no question.
You more want to keep it on something that is relevant to the story itself. Like maybe what you two were doing with the Ironverse with Coyote and Jack Irons.
Yeah, we certainly Dollar has more attention to detail than I do. My main goal is just to make sure everything's functioning and makes sense, and the story I'm trying to tell is working. And I leave the detail bits, most of them, not all of them. There's a few specifics I do need once in a while. But I leave that mostly with the artist because you know, I write my script, he does it to the script, and then I rewrite to his art. That way I can give him as much freedom as possible to add, remove panels, whatever makes the action or the scene flow better in his eyes as he's laying it out. And so that's usually what that is. But sometimes I'll need something specific in the background. There's a small short sub story in issue number 2, which should be hitting backers starting this week. It was shipped last week, so actually some people should already have them. I just haven't heard from said people.
There you go.
But during that scene, it's a small subplot where some aliens are arguing over a card game that none of them understand, and they all think they have the rules right, and it ends up in a violent encounter. And the big joke is this alien species, they don't die. They regenerate from anything. So you see all the bits on the ground and somebody's mopping them up. And then later it's revealed that the thing that's mopping it up is the headless guy. And they're escorting the other guy out of the bar, the guy who shot him. Just small little bits like that I needed for a little bit of a brevity break. Jack's... it's a depressing tale.
So you just need to give the reader a breather.
That's what that was, and it's in the background. It's kind of implied. Jack doesn't give a shit when the gunshot's going off. He's just telling this shit. It's kind of a contrast so that you can see that he's really self-absorbed about what he's doing, and the rest of the world doesn't really matter.
Well, when you've been alive as long as he is, you kind of just stop caring.
Exactly. Apathetic is very strong, and part of issue 2 is showing how he moved past that, and so part of it's not there. Issue 3 will finish that bit of his personality arc, but I am so damn excited. It's been about a year and a half working on this, and it's been about 2 or 3 months sitting with the printer. So I've been waiting. I'm really hoping people enjoy it.
I'm pretty sure they will. I mean, you're
Yeah.
doing for that form of build-up that's going to really pay off when it gets to 3, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it pays off in 2. I'm writing it so each issue can be read separately, but if you had read before, you'll get more out of it. And same with what we're doing with Cactus Coyote is that if you are also reading Cactus Coyote, you'll understand more of Jack and vice versa. But none of it's necessary because we don't want to isolate anybody who doesn't want to read everything, you know?
Oh yeah, we do the same thing with Tom and Artie.
Yep.
Because I wrote most of the stories after issue 3 are going to be pretty episodic and just get wrapped up in around 25 to 30 to 32 pages. And I always tell, because people tell me like, "Oh, how do I keep up with this? Where do I go to?" I just say, "Look, if you have like no time and you just want to read the story, you just read the 8-page issue 0 and you jump in at any issue. You'll be good. All you need is a basic understanding of the characters, and that's all you need."
And that's a great way to do it. There's if you can, like when I wrote Jack originally way back when, I had written it all as one kind of consistent graphic novel, and I realized how I wrote that can also be split like that, and so I've been tempering them as they go and be made to be more of that any entry point. You like the cover, you pick up the book, and you don't have to worry that you're missing something. And with Tom and Artie, that's great too. I think their characters lend more to a very more episodic format than Jack even. Jack does have an overarching narrative that's being built up, but the episodic nature with those 2 guys, it's like you're going on a new adventure with your friends every time you read it, and that's a great way to do it.
It's because one of the things of the surveys that were coming in is that I had some people that were telling me that they felt that issue 2 was slow at parts. Like someone was asking me about one scene, because there's one scene where they're moving through the sewer, and Artie is telling Tom about a story from his old show, because Tom was stressing about how the plan they had was a really crap one, and it's supposed to highlight some aspects of their personality. Tom is a guy who he wants a plan for everything when he goes in for a job. That's what he's used to. He wants to know the exact number of guys they're fighting. He wants to know the layouts. He wants to know entrances, exits, weapon types, any type of endeavor, any type of variable he can plan for. Artie is just massively roll with the punches. He just focuses on, we have job. Job is over there. I need to get to job. People are in my way. People need to die. Then I get to job. That's Artie's form of thinking. You can throw like like some kind of massive cyborg monster in front of him, and he probably won't even break a sweat about it. But Tom is the guy that he needs to think everything through, and Artie's just trying to tell him, you need to just calm down and just go with it, because not everything is going to go according to plan. Even if the plan isn't great, not everything is going to work according to it anyway. And that's exactly what's happening in 2. Because some people were telling me they felt that the director, like the guy they're supposed to kill, didn't have an active antagonist role in 2, that they wish he was around more. But I was telling them that that's kind of the reason for it. It's that setup, because the director, he's not taking them seriously in 2. All he hears is that there are two guys breaking into his lab. He doesn't know what they can do, and his lab is full of mad scientists armed to the teeth with weaponry, gadgets, robots, all that stuff. So he just figured, I'll just throw them to the goons, they'll take care of them, and I'll keep doing my thing. But when he gets to the end of two and goes into three, that's when he just realizes, okay, these guys have now killed probably like half my guys. Now I actually need to do something about this directly.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, they just didn't see where you were going with him right away. That's that'll happen. That'll happen for sure. Jack's, especially in issue 1, it's very vague. You don't really know where any of it's going. By the end of it, you just kind of know a little bit about the character and a little bit about the world. And
yeah.
so that's I'm just glad people enjoyed that still, because there's not much of a plot to it. I mean, there's a bunch of mini plots, is what it really is. It's kind of an anthology told at a bar that ends with another part of the anthology that was that bar. But so it's, yeah. One of my favorite things about working in comics is the absolute creative freedom. I don't think you find that in any. I mean, it's there in other mediums, but the expression for storytelling, I don't think can be matched, because there's always physical limitations. Video games comes close, but then again, you also have to have engaging gameplay, and that in itself is kind of a limitation. And the variance of types of stories of even just the scripts that I've seen is incredible. You can do scripting however you want. The only thing that really matters is the communication between the artist and the creator. And sometimes it's the same person, which is great. You don't have to worry about the translation. But I don't know, something magical about the medium, and I'm always happy to talk to folks like you and meet new people who are working in this very tough but very rewarding medium. And if you folks are interested in reading any Tom and Artie, it's free to read on Tapas.
Oh yeah, you can
I linked
read
it in chat. I'll link it again. I've been kind of showing it. You guys can't see it, but I have been showing it, showing pages and stuff, trying to find places you're talking about. I've been successful so far. But
I've been watching the video feed as it's been going on.
cool, right
Yeah,
on, right on.
Mike is attentive like that.
That's good. Got to
It
keep
was
your
me-
eyes on me, man.
But yeah, Tom and Artie is free to read on Tapas until we make a website, and we'll still upload it on there even after we make a site. It's still underway. It's halfway done. There's Tom and Artie. There's Tom and Artie Tales, which is currently on hiatus, but it's gonna be coming back soon. There's already a few scripts I have written up for that as well. I mean, like I said, there was people who asked me, how do I work with all these different artists? Because Tom and Artie Tales switches art styles almost every story. And I just say, hey, it's just all about pacing yourself, getting a plan together, following through with the plan, making sure no one's trying to chew their leg off, and it's all fine.
Yeah, you don't want any legs chewed off. Yeah, it's the same. I've worked with quite a few. And again, what I was talking about is just trying to find that equilibrium, that ability to work within both your boundaries to produce something hopefully better than the sum of its parts.
Oh yeah, that's why I've got Mike here. I usually message him with like crazy ideas I've got for Tom and Artie or Bite, and he usually comes back to me with his feedback. He was the one that's been helping me out with issue 1 of Bite, and there was a new character he gave me the idea for that was like halfway in. Well, Mike, you want to tell him about Showstopper?
Oh yeah. So what we were doing was we've been wanting to make like homages to different 80s cartoon series, specifically GI Joe, but some other stuff as well.
Oh yeah, I wanted just a quick thing. I wanted to put a Centurion's reference in there somewhere, but I'm still waiting on where I can put that in the comic.
Yeah, Centurions were pretty awesome. But yeah, so what we did was we wanted to take a look at like, okay, well, what characters can we do? How do we do this? Because the one thing I hate doing is just a straight up knockoff. There's no fun in that. It's just like, oh, well, we're doing some GI Joe, so here's our off-brand snake eyes. Enjoy.
Lizard breath. I don't know.
Yeah, it just it doesn't work. It's like if it's it, you have to when you're doing something like this where you're obviously wanting to take some ideas or do an homage, go ahead and do that homage, but make some changes. Do something differently. Make it yours. And so I wanted to actually take a lesser known character.
Firefly.
Yeah, Firefly. We wanted to like for those who don't know him, he's kind of the ultimate mercenary
He's a
in Cobra.
he's like a
Yeah,
demolitions expert.
yeah, he's a demolitions infiltration expert. Kind of think like an evil version of Solid Snake.
Yeah, the
Uh,
funny thing was
but
that
he's more paranoid about anybody seeing what he looks like. Even in
yeah,
the cartoon, he threatens to kill a bunch of scientists because they think they might have seen him and remember what he looks like. And he still has the damn mask on. He's constantly has a full-on face
yeah,
mask.
usually has a full on like face mask with the eyes are exposed.
Uh,
And
Balaclava, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah, balaclava.
Well, one
No,
one is the face mask, and the other is a delicious dessert.
oh yeah.
So
No,
a
it's no,
baklava.
because
That
we were going through ideas for it, and originally I wanted to do a Zartan like homage, and you were the one that brought up Firefly.
Yeah, well,
And
Zartan's just master of disguise,
yeah,
and he can be pretty fun. Uh, but I looked at it and I just said, well, like what is the situation? Like the Dread Mistress needs to get nuclear codes. So I thought of, okay, well, why don't we just take Firefly and we just make him really freaking paranoid where he has a plan for everything, and he's like this crazy ass chess master who just kind of
is trying to play everyone into his hands.
right,
Because you
right,
gotta
but at the
remember,
same time the best way to actually screw him over is just say yeah, sure. And it's like, really?
what?
I had a whole setup. You don't want to find out what happens if you double cross me? No, no, no. I'm all game for that. You're good. You got a good price. I'll go for it.
Well, yeah, it's just like well, Mike mentioned nuclear codes in Bite, and the whole reason for that is because the location where it takes place in a fictional city called Castor's Bay. Castor's Bay used to be a very kind of like a home base for the Dread organization when it was under the Dread Master.
Yeah,
So
the Springfield, if you will.
yeah, exactly. So when Dread collapsed, there is basically a whole crap ton of hidden bunkers, hidden bases throughout the city that are just like locked away with tons of weapons or tons of tech that are just in storage. And since a lot of the Dread personnel after went downhill, either one died, two went into hiding, or three they just in Showstopper's case, he just took his talents on the road. Someone had to come along and try to get every code that they can to open up all these bases, all these bunkers that are just filled with these cutting edge weapons and technology as well. It was supposed to be said that yeah, when Dread went down, the U.S. government came into the city, found a lot of the bases, and shut them down. But there's so many that they missed.
Filled with toyetic deadliness.
Oh yeah, the toyetic part was one of the major things we were going for. That was actually, if you could see the original Dread soldier designs we used in the ash can. When I told Roger, our main artist, to like design the soldiers, I told him, "Can you make something look as toyetic as possible? Give me something that looks like it would be an action figure." And he comes in with the design right there of like all this armor, this kick-ass like face mask on it. It was just perfect. It was one of the it made me want a toy of it when I saw it.
Well, well, I think we're looking at crowdfund project number 2 if Byte pays off.
Oh, if bite oh, you mean if people are gonna either want look, people are either gonna want something with Dread or they're gonna want something with Olivia. I don't deny that.
Olivia Nakamura pillows, anybody?
I actually was thinking that idea. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually thinking for the crowdfunding. You know what we should do?
It's
We should
it's
have
the
like
money.
no, like imagine that on the highest tier or something. We have like an Olivia body pillow. We should totally do it, man. I'm dead serious.
Well, I would say for the ladies we should, or for or for the folks who more appreciates a guy. Let's have one of the male members also have it as an option.
Well, it's either gonna be Warwick or Truman if you want to go with main cast.
Probably Truman.
Yeah, the girls like Truman. Mostly because he is the epitome of struggling, well, not really struggling artist. He was, oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna catch some flack about what inspired Truman, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. Okay, okay. Does everyone here remember when they announced Thundercats Roar?
I do very much so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, where were you when JFK was shot moment for us?
yeah,
Thundercats roar. That was it, man.
yeah.
Oh,
The
dear
shitstorm that
Lord.
happened. I was looking at the preview video that they did for that, and when it was showing some of the cast that was there, and some people were making fun of how the some of the guy creators on there they looked, and I started thinking, you know what? Let me try to get in a character in here who in the past was this huge bloodthirsty badass, but now he's become extremely sensitive.
Oh, nice.
He-
Okay.
That was what inspired like Truman right on the bat. That
That's
back
why.
when Dread was in its like high state, he was this major badass. He was just like, a walking apocalypse. But now, oh, he works at an animation studio. He's mostly lost a lot of his violent tendencies. And he's also kind of jumpy now as well. I was taking in with like a lot of my friends who fit the bill of being a depressed artist.
Yeah. There's been a lot of I don't know. There's two very distinct cultural perspectives being put out there these days, and one of them very much has that unique what's been called the Tumblr style, and
Oh, you mean the
that infects
Cal Arts?
yeah, and that yeah, well, there's the Cal Arts, but there's also just the in general, even people dressing and looking like that, and yeah, that's a thing.
Wait, I'm looking at the chat here. I see that Gorgonite asks compensation beard and soy face included. Sadly, no. The weird part was that when we first were,
A beard on a shark?
yeah,
Shark
that's it.
beard. I don't
No, it
know.
was because
How does that work?
no, that was like actually a question Roger asked me when we first started designing the characters. He was asking me because he drew Olivia first, and he was asking, "Does she have hair?" And I was like, "What? No, that's dumb. That looks so dumb on a shark.
Shark wig.
Shark wig, yeah."
But
No,
yeah, no, I could tell that's so. So you're trying to keep to the biology in the lore for sure a little bit, because it is like the cobra made the street shark. So I'm assuming is the world still human based?
yeah, the world is still very human based. Like Warwick, Truman, and Olivia are the well, technically, before the short story starts, they are the only kind of animal humanoids in this universe
That we know of.
that we know of.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But the whole thing is that in the story itself, no one's really alarmed by their appearance anymore, or at all. It's also implied that just weirder stuff has happened elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, and you could also kind of chalk it up to the fact that it's in Castor's Bay. No one's really been surprised about this. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure at some point, people just stopped looking out the window when there would be jet fighters buzzing by. So I tend to think that this is all part of daily business, and you could also kind of look at it like kind of um on a general like minority or melting pot kind of instance where anyone like anybody who's staring is probably a tourist.
Yeah, exactly. It's just become so normal there, no one really cares anymore.
Okay.
Morgan,
But
I do agree. Sharkbeard would be an awesome
and
pirate name.
on that
Oh,
on
someone
that
better
topic,
steal that.
would a shark beard turn heads? See, that's the question.
Like a shark with a beard, or someone with a literal shark as a beard?
Either.
The second one would be very interesting.
Someone write that down. Someone needs to make this a thing.
Shark
Someone needs to make this a
beard.
thing. Shark
I
beard.
mean,
write it.
I've seen Catbeard.
Yeah, but that's
Cat
not a
beard.
shark, man.
I've seen dog
Yeah,
mustache.
I've seen literal shark tits. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that one of like a woman who has literally sharks as her tits.
No, I've not seen that. I have
And
now
that
heard of
makes
it.
sense. If you like go on Google, you'll probably find it, but you don't want to put it on here because
I
you don't want
think
to get
that's
kicked
a
off YouTube.
character in one of the Shin Megami Tensei games, Digital Devil Saga. One of the characters, when she turns into a demon, quite literally, her tits have sharp teeth, and that's how she talks.
What? Wait, really?
Yes. Yes.
Oh boy.
Absolutely, really.
See, now that's creativity.
SMT's a hell of a drug, yo.
Oh wait. Oh yeah. Dollar said he had to take off, and you.
Oh,
can,
it
bring
happens.
in Zero.
It happens.
That's cool.
He
Don't
was having
worry.
some noise in the background at one point, maybe some kind of kerfuffle, you know. But yeah, let's check Zero Fox, also from Team Ironverse. He put in, he's done our logos. He did our concept gallery in issue number 2. And he actually lined up the pinups for that too. It's wonderful work. Thank you for showing up, Zero. Always glad to have you around. Yeah, just a quick shout out there. If there's any questions in chat, again, I'll remind folks we're all here to answer them. And I don't know. Do you guys want to cut it at an hour and a half?
Oh, what do you think, Mike? You think
I can go as long as you like.
Yeah, so can I.
Oh,
hour
well
and a half,
then we'll call it when we call it then. How about that? That works for
makes
me
sense.
too.
All right, makes a good deal of sense to me.
All right. Well then, let's see. Let's see if I can think of something else. I'm gonna go ahead. I've been showing little previews of Bite and such as we've been going. I'm gonna see if I can find some more. I find the colored cover art for it so far, and I love your logo too. It's just some
Kristen.
wonderful
I
stuff.
literally cannot pronounce his last name, but his Twitter page is called Doc Inks. He does a great job. He was actually recommended to me by Roger because they did some small work before. Oh, if you want something else, you should also look up the other comic that Roger worked on before. He wrote himself. It's called Beast Commandos. And Beast Commandos, back when I put him on Tom and Ari Tale Stories, Beast Commandos was the comic that just made me think, that just instantly had me think, I gotta get this guy on Bite. He'll be perfect for Bite.
Yeah, his I'm going through his page right now. There's some great pieces. Let me go back, switch it over here. Just some wonderful. Bite looks killer, guys. It really does.
Thank you very much.
I love the work, the character designs.
Thank you.
Your armor designs here too are pretty stand out. You do not want to get kneed in the crotch by any of these guys, though they're just as likely probably to bite off your head. So
that was
well up
the
there.
armor designs. That was all that was all Roger right there. Because
Oh, yeah.
originally, I wanted them to have more like diverse looking armor, but then he talked me out of it with why are we gonna waste the diverse looking armor for flashback scenes that aren't even gonna come out? And I was just like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no.
Save it for the new revamped armor when they have to go back in.
I probably, to be
When
honest,
they
I probably
take no, because the bad guys won't take no for an answer.
Oh god, I can't think of I can't think of some witty catchphrases like that.
See, this is why he has me on board.
Yeah,
I can
this is
see.
why.
I can see. Very jealous.
And all of a
go
sudden,
down.
in a world.
Oh, there we go. There's Beast Commandos. Here we go. Let me show the cover I have found. Boom, boom.
Yeah, Roger, he drew all that himself. That's all him there. The sad part is that Beast Commandos, you can find it on Comixology. It only goes up to issue 2. And that was because at the time, I don't think Beast Commandos was selling like as well as they hoped. So the publisher he was with, they in a way dropped him. Well, they weren't like gonna let, more issues come out, but he did already have 3 done. He has 4 done, and I think he's about to get picked up by another publisher that's gonna re-release them.
Oh, well, good, because yeah, that when the business gets in the way of the art, that bugs the hell out of me.
Oh yeah,
And this just looks
that's
so
always fun.
damn fun. Really
No,
does.
no. Another thing is that I don't think he got 2 translated yet. So one is like fine, and one is like in English and Spanish. And then you get to issue 2. I think he only had issue 2 done in Spanish because he's from Barcelona. So he keeps a lot of his main stuff there. Hell, we're actually getting Bite translated into Spanish as well.
Very cool. Yeah, no, a good part of my teams I've
Bueno.
worked with, the colorist on issue number 1, he's from Spain, and yeah, there's so many damn good talents out there. I'm pulling up the Beast Commandos link, so anybody who's actually interested with that can go ahead and support his work. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep, there
Put
you
it
go.
down into chat. It looks killer. I'm probably gonna grab it myself, just not at the moment. You guys don't need to watch me chop. Though the enthusiasm level is there. I'll keep that
The
tab open.
enthusiasm level is always there when you see the comic Beast Commandos. It was just because as soon as I read the intro, as soon as I read the entire thing, I was just like, all right, he is the one. He is the one for Bite. That
Yeah,
was a little. Nah,
it,
go ahead.
it was an incredible combination there. I always like finding, there's a lot of comics out there that don't have the art angle all the way down. And it doesn't have something unique, some flavor to it, doesn't have a bite to it, and certainly Bite does, and Tom and Artie does as well. And you keep finding exquisite talents for Tom and Artie, and again, that's so very cool. It's working with so many people does make the job a little bit more difficult, but again, makes it more rewarding in my opinion.
It was always when I do Tom and Ari Tales. Well, when we do Tom and Ari Tales, I usually put up an open call for our artists on it when I do like some new stories. And I haven't done it after like the current few that are going on right now. I know for like the one that you wrote and some of the guest writers, I'm gonna be doing another open call for that. But that's always the hard part of choosing the artist for each story, because I mean, I always tell Mike the stories of when this happens. I put an open call, usually in the Facebook group, maybe on Twitter, and then I spend like maybe a day or two looking through all the replies that come in, and it's always hard. It's hard in the sense of I get a lot of people that would start showing me their stuff, and it's now in no way related to what I would actually need. Because I mean, I love a different style. I love it just fine. But if you're throwing me your portfolio and all your portfolio has are just superhero designs and noir designs, I'm just like,
No,
well,
I definitely agree. I've seen that. I've done that myself, and it's honestly like, look, when you're asking for something like, here's Tom and Artie, here's the kind of style, or we want something kind of bendable and goofy and cartoonish, and then I know just what you need. Here's my Rex Morgan MD fan art.
yeah, and when that comes in, it's always I just stare at it like, dude. I mean, I'm open to different things, but you can at least show me some type of anthro character in here, or maybe like a robot or something to
How would
really.
you like my Rob Liefeld characters? They've
That
got
was
guns. They're
that was
actually serious.
no, that's funny because remember when Vanessa drew that last Tom and Ari Tales story, the one where they were where they were chasing the bounty target.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
looked like Tom was suffering under a bit of Big McLarge huge.
yeah,
Uh,
I love Vanessa's art because
oh, it's great.
she gave them like the biggest contrast in their designs. Like Tom suddenly became this huge buff guy, and Artie became a lot more skinny looking. And when I showed it off, my friends were Jamil. He was making so many Rob Liefeld jokes out the gate, and he even drew like a picture of a Liefeld Tom.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, he
Depending
drew him
which
shirtless.
particular
There's
life
the
field
veins
we're
everywhere.
thinking, that would
He
be
had
something
the
to
he
see.
had the
Pouches
hide the feet,
everywhere.
he had
It's
to hide
one
the feet too.
pouch.
No, that reminds me. You ever saw that video of Rob Liefeld drawing with like Stan Lee near him?
Oh God damn!
And the part of the
I
video,
felt so bad for Rob actually.
oh dude, you remember the part where Stan Lee said, "Tighten up those feet."
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Tighten
yeah,
up those
yeah.
feet.
He has feet issues. I remember that. That's funny.
It's just like
He
the,
has gotten better over the years. Let's give credit where credit's
Yeah.
due.
Oh, absolutely.
oh yeah, very true. But I still laugh at the whole "tighten up those feet." Cause I'm just picturing Liefeld sweating internally, like, oh fuck.
Oh yeah, no, having Stan Lee tell you that? Yeah, no.
Oh, now having Stan Lee, having like any top-notch comic creator just like put you down instantly. Because I've seen guys that have shown their work to to some like big people at Marvel, and they just get instantly shut down. And I just wonder how it would be. I wonder if Marvel still does like the same way they choose like artists how they used to. How they used to have it where you have to send in like your inks and all that along with a red marker, and then they give you back like all the things you did incorrectly. Does anyone know if they still do that? Or
I
do they
doubt
not
they
do that
do.
anymore?
The
I don't
influx
think they
of
do that.
the influx of mail, like a lot of places don't even really accept submissions unless a very particular addressed to a particular editor, and then maybe they'll look at it. And yeah, at this point, I don't know. I don't know how they're finding their artists these days at Marvel. In all honesty.
I believe they've openly said that just do stuff on the internet, and if we like what you're doing, then we'll contact you. There's no direct hire, I believe, going on right now with Marvel. It's all insider stuff.
Yeah, I think it's more of you can get in if you know a guy or something. You
Yeah.
know a guy who could probably like talk them up and they can get you in there. Or maybe if your work is just like that good, they're just like, we need you on board right now. Oh yeah, by the way, Marvel, I'm open to writing a Taskmaster and Black Ant book if you need it. You know? You can see I have experience with writing duo characters. I think I would be great for it.
You go ahead and give them that call. Give them that call, Marvel.
I'm not touching this hot button issue.
No, I'll ask Mike. Like, dude, who would you write? Who would you write if you worked at Marvel? I think didn't you say X-Men last time you wanted to work on the
No. I said Cyclops.
Oh, there's a
I could
difference.
Oh,
actually do it up like kind of like falling down, where here's this guy who just wants to who just tries doing the best he can. He has a hard time relating to people and talk with people, and yet for some reason other people are cheering on this guy who steals his motorcycle and tries to mac with his wife.
That's a good point. I would like to read that story.
You're doing great. You're doing great, buddy.
Oh.
That would no. I always said that if I got on like Marvel or DC, you could just give me a D list to C list character, and I'll be fine. Like I don't want anyone A list. I don't want anyone A or B list. Give me like someone who isn't as well known or just hasn't appeared a lot. Like I was saying, if it was at DC, I was just like, just give me Deadshot. I'll be fine with Deadshot.
Hey, is Ralph Snart still available?
I can see Mike. He would write a. You would totally write something for like Flash's Rogues Gallery. The Rogues, yeah.
Probably. The Rogues wouldn't be a bad shot. Although I could probably put them as my number 3. right above Booster Gold and Starfire.
Uh, wait,
Oh.
Cody, who would you write if you worked
Who
at
would
Marvel?
I
DC?
write? Daredevil or Frank. I think I'd like to try Daredevil first. I know that's a B plus character, but with what you can do with Matt with Sensation, it always entertains the hell out of me, and the writers I enjoy the most that have done Daredevil do that. And that's his main bit, but some people don't use it very well. And I would like that, but honestly, like 99% of my eggs are in the Ironverse basket.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, you're not gonna want to use all your good ideas on other IP when you got your own. That's like that's the common form of thinking these days. Some people say like, oh, why are no better artists or writers coming to the big two? And it's just like, well, they could make a shit ton more money just working on their own properties. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. There used to be a safety net that encouraged people to create new properties for the company because you got bonuses, you got incentives for doing really well. Now I don't hear much of that at all. Also, I'm kind of surprised because I'd figure you'd be wanting to gun for like some kind of Weird West Ghost Rider kind of story, or maybe like an alternate universe Wild West thing where you have like the web slinger.
Now have
That's a
Cody.
good pun. I like Web Slinger. That's a good pun.
Well, actually, have Cody
Well,
do like
well,
the next.
honestly,
Have him do the next Ghost Rider 2099.
Oh man,
there you
I
go.
would be all over Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider's my jam, but again, they've killed biker culture at Marvel. It's dead. I mean, Donny Cates barely brought it back, and then he put it into space. So there's where I would write it. Nobody wants it except for me. So it's really tough. I mean, with Robbie Reyes, they really did that. They're rebooting now, with Ketch and Johnny. I'm gonna see how that goes. But honestly, Ghost Rider was that under. He flew the flag for two cult genres, horror and biker culture. It's a very very low genre. It's a handful of biker movies, one successful show. It's not it's not
One
a big
successful
seller,
video
but
game.
it's
Right.
something
Dude,
real personal to a lot of people, and I'm sad to see it go. But the motorcycle industry in itself is dying, so it's just how it goes.
speaking of which, have you played Days Gone?
I have not played Days Gone.
I haven't played it either.
You might want to check that out. The main character and his buddy are members of a motorcycle club.
Nifty. No, I'm
And
glad
it's
that.
kind of after the zombies hit as they're roaming around Oregon.
Okay, I have seen footage from Days Gone. I have. It's got a good, like a fluid crowd dynamic, right? For the zombies, real fluid.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I've seen footage of it, and you maintain your motorcycle is a good part of it. Yeah. I've seen a lot of it. I'm a PC gamer, so I don't catch any of the console exclusives.
Fair enough.
But nonetheless, I'm interested when there's a new art, and again on that very lower subculture there that's popping away. I'm always happy to see it get some new blood. And again, with this Ghost Rider reboot, if they do it right, great. Marvel these days, it's hard. It's hard.
I'm very on and off. All I do is just rely on what my friends would update and tell me about it, but I can rarely ask myself enough to read it. I just get spoon fed the information, and then I just go back to reading whatever indie book I found that day on Comixology or maybe on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I've gone full indie basically, and I've always been a back issue guy. The only event I ever kept up with was way back at OG Civil War. I kept up with that, but and then it kept going, spinning off into more events, and then I kind of lost interest. But it did produce my favorite issue of Punisher ever, Dark Reign #1. Where he fights the Sentry, the art in that, and just the
Oh
concept.
yeah, I remember that one.
That one just stuck with me so hard. It's so good. But yeah, I haven't. honestly, I've just been catching up on back catalog because there's just so much good from way back when that is up my wheelhouse. Whereas today, it's except in indie, it's harder to find what I like.
It's harder to find what I would like as well on some of the sites when it comes to like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, because it's always wondering, are they actually gonna deliver on
Yeah.
this? Because I mean, I've seen some campaigns where people would set the goals like really, really, really high, and it's only issue one. And I'm just thinking, well, if people, people pay for it, oh, okay then.
Can I go ahead and interject here? I've
Oh.
actually kind of did a lot of research on Kickstarter and crowdfunding, and I could actually tell when the game, or specifically games, but when the project looked like a total turd or looked like a trap. And the one thing is that it has a lot of it doesn't sound like it's written by a fan or it's written by someone who really knows that particular genre well. Eh, stay away from that. Another thing, if it's just nothing but concept art, no actual chunks of pages being on display, any kind of indication that the project is being worked on as the Kickstarter is going on, or has a good number of work being done to it. If they're more interested talking about the people rather than the project, that is a red flag.
Yeah.
I
Okay. I can
Yeah,
see.
very
Yeah.
true,
Those.
very
I
true.
would I would always see that as a red flag. Best case example was the Pathfinder MMO. That thing went nowhere, and I could tell because no one wanted to talk about the damn thing, and they were just more interested of, yeah, back this, and you get like the special Pathfinder adventure book for your RPG sessions. And that's it. That's pretty much why everyone jumped in on it. But you look at that video and it's just, look how awesome we are. We're a bunch of great designers and we're coming up with this great thing for Pathfinder.
Yeah, but the important thing is, like you said, the content, the book,
Yeah.
the game.
If they
That's what it's
if
all
they
about.
don't talk about that, that's a red flag.
Like
Uh
I
if
mean, we talked about this in a previous, like in the last podcast, where we were bringing up about how it's always weird when some comic crowdfunders will start up, but there's not even an issue done yet, or it's still in idea phase.
yeah,
Like, at least have a script prepared, or at least say you have it outlined beforehand, because sometimes I feel like people just throw on numbers just to get as high a number but don't really think about where it's going.
or the other thing that breaks my heart is seeing people just toss a Kickstarter and that's it. They'll just turn it on and it's like, "Oh, all right. I made $500 so I can print out the book. Yay." And I feel like you're selling yourself so short.
So short, no question. When to get what I did with Jack, to get that done, man, it was hours and hours of my day every day grinding and getting awareness for that, and it's because I wanted it to happen. I have the enthusiasm, and it's something I believe in, and people enjoy supporting people who have enthusiasm and are working on what they believe in. It makes it
It's
makes all the
hard to
difference.
really sell yourself in comics, especially these days, because there is, people don't want to say it, but there's a lot of competition,
So
basically.
much competition.
So
I've
much
been referring
competition.
to it as the cacophony. You have to be louder than it or stand out from it. You're going to be heard by some people here and there, and sometimes they'll lend their voices, but you got to do something to be that cream that's rising above the rest of the crop.
Oh yeah, and you need as many of your friends to really just like get stuff out there for you, to really just like retweet and post and just try to get your name above the rest.
Yeah,
That's always the hardest part. And also making sure you can actually deliver on your product.
that's a big one.
It's just stressful.
Yeah,
But I
Yes.
think
that's another big sign is check the other like their Kickstarters previously. Have they done other Kickstarters or crowdfunding before? How did that go? as people gotten their stuff going. Now, please don't confuse if somebody has to cancel a Kickstarter. That should not be a red flag in of itself. I would definitely say um, I've I've actually backed several games and projects where they had to cancel it, and stuff happens. But when they were able to make it happen and get it past that goal and then ship, oh, they were completely timely and got the game out as best as they could.
And that's the thing too. These are all micro businesses a lot of the time. Some bigger corporations now use the crowdfunding. Bigger groups, more organized groups. But
Not a fan of that.
particularly in comics, that's not a thing almost at all. It's all just people trying to get these books done, and not usually more than just the creative team. Sometimes there's a publisher involved, or sometimes there's some other overarching entity involved. But most of the time, it's just the creators. So you can tell a lot by what you're saying, by how they present their project, by their history with projects, but honestly, those two to me would turn me on or off.
You are right. I mean, I did see like there was that little tutorial in 9-panel page Kickstarter thing that was going on, and that's essentially run by IDW, but IDW doesn't make mention of that on the page, on the Kickstarter.
Oh,
page.
really? Oh, man.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
they
It's they'll mention it on the IDW page, but they won't mention it on the Kickstarter page. And I think I get it, because that's one thing. One of the more popular and one of the categories that makes the big bucks are tabletop games on Kickstarter.
Oh yeah,
You
they're
got
usually
like all the big miniature board games that cost like $100 or more. Like if you wanted to get like that brand new Batman adventure game that had like almost every single one of his villains and every single one of his buddies, if you wanted to get that game, that would have cost you about $250. Uh, and even then, the smaller stuff, they'll be raking in like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there they have a problem of bigger companies coming in and using Kickstarter,
oh
or other crowdfunding, and I feel that that's kind of I think that's kind of an abuse. I don't feel like it's exactly going to um, going to the soup kitchen with wearing a tuxedo, but
It's pretty close. I know what you
yeah,
mean.
it
It's
doesn't
pretty
feel
close.
right.
He's got the top hat.
Yeah,
yeah, it doesn't. It just feels odd. Like it just feels odd in general because
yeah.
this is supposed to be the location for people who don't have these resources to get a jump start. And
Yeah, like, oh hey, we need a bunch of money to make this thing, or hey, we're a small company and we'd really like to create these special printers that can make
well,
like
the
really
same
cool
a
figures.
similar thing started happening on like webtoons like a little while ago. Back when webtoons was really getting into like the main circuit of things, they had a big old thing. I think it was when they partnered with Line that they started getting a lot of mainstream comic creators that were jumping onto the webcomic scene and using webtoons as a way to get their stuff out there. And a lot of people who were already on webtoons or were already on there for years were suddenly going, wait, what the hell? Because now all the people who already have all the fame and already have all the attention were coming on there, and they were getting pushed to the front page. They were getting all the media attention, and everyone else who was there still working on their stuff were just had their hands up like, wait, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, that's the thing with any there's always going to be a mainstream cast off. There's always going to be that eye looking down at the better deal, and
Get out of here, nerd.
Yeah, and with independent creators, small time, first time, second time, early creators, you don't have any footing. So it's literally having somebody with a big foot putting their foot on your neck a little bit, making it just that much harder to rise above that cacophony, that large amount, that huge amount of creations that are out there, which is wonderful. But it's not all of them deserve a large amount of attention, and it makes it harder for those that do, especially when most artists, a lot of creators are much more introverted, and so these professionals who come down to the indie slums, they do make it they make it harder. They make it
Oh
much
yeah,
much
that's
harder.
another thing I have to warn readers about. All right, look, all right. I mean, sorry, with watchers. If you get, if you start up your campaign and you're doing well with it, you're most likely gonna have people or publishers that are gonna come along and they're gonna offer you a deal. They're gonna take care of your shipping. They're gonna take care of like your printing, all that stuff. They'll just want a portion of what you're getting from it, which sounds good. But if you're getting it, please pay attention to what they're showing you on those contracts. A lot of times those contracts are going to have little hidden things you didn't account for that are going to wind up being a nightmare as soon as the campaign is over.
Yeah, Rob is not wrong. I spent 2.5 months ironing out my contract with Wicked Publishing, making sure everything was unilateral. There was a lot to it that was only if I fuck up doing this thing, but they're okay if they do the same thing and fuck up. There was a lot of those kind of things, and they were very amiable to working out the contract. They wanted Jack, but it's something you have to do, and don't be afraid to negotiate. Every contract can be unique. If they tell you that that's it or nothing, then fuck them.
Oh yeah, and also just because one publisher comes to you doesn't mean it's gonna be the end. There will be other chances down
Yes.
the road. Now, one coming to you is gonna seem great at the time, but just think about how better it's gonna be when you have your work done on your own terms and everything is prepared, and now you have a fan base to back you up and give you more control in the situation. Because you gotta remember, they're coming to you because you have numbers, you have people following you, you have proof that all these people will buy your book as soon as you say it's on sale. And they want that. So when they come to you after that and they're trying to make a deal, you have power in that situation.
Yeah,
You're the one.
understand. Yeah, understand. You've got the higher ground. There's very little that they can offer you. That's a deal you cannot refuse.
Yeah, exactly. That's why usually they prey on creators who are just starting out. Those who are just getting their foot in there because they're banking on you being so hyped over the fact that someone notices you that you'll just sign it away without thinking. Don't be that guy. Just don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't.
I've been approached by a publisher for Tom and Artie before, and after reading what they were offering me and getting some more legal minded friends to read it over, I eventually came to just a no.
Yeah, I took a look at that myself. It was not a good deal for anybody. Just another sign, read the fine print, read what you're going to be getting out of it. Uh if I may, um I'm seeing Gorgonite Emissary. He says big corporations shouldn't be allowed to latch onto crowdfunding. Period. Look at the cluster F that Shenmue has become.
Oh, the irony is that I know a guy who worked on Shenmue 3. And what happened was I think he was only involved in a localization role, actually, really kind of small role. But what wound up happening is that when all the controversy for Shenmue 3 happened because of going with the Epic Store, he
Right.
started getting tons of people attacking him as if he was in the inner circle.
Yeah,
It,
but that was all Deep Silver's little snafu.
oh yeah, very much. It's not really cool when these big corporations try to latch on the crowdfunding unless they show that they're maybe really struggling, or maybe it's someone from there that just really wants to get a project out there. But overall, I do think that, the crowdfunding campaigns, the sites should be used for the little guy who has a problem getting their comic out there, who doesn't really have all the time in the day to do this stuff. I mean, come on, count how many comic readers do this as a hobby. You work a day job, then you come home and, you write, you work on your stuff. You think that's easy? Not all the time.
It is not
You know,
easy.
I definitely do agree with that, but there is actually one method that I do agree why corporations have been going to Kickstarter or for other crowdfunders, and that has been metrics. Metrics has been kind of a nightmare for game design and for big company product making, animation, movies, TV. And what crowdfunding has allowed us to do is it has given us a voice. Yeah, we can go ahead and say, "Oh yeah, I'd really like this old show back," or "I'd really like this," but they'll say, "Well, the metrics have said that people only want this right now. So this is all we're going to make because that's all the metrics are going to have." You could come up with some wildly amazing idea, like if I told you before like 2010 and I said, "Hey guys, I've got this great idea where we're going to use it's going to be an action platformer game, but it's going to use toys. It's going to use toys, and we're going to play with them toys, and we can combine the things in the toys, and it shows up in the game." And normally someone says, "Hey, that sounds like a great idea. Come up with metrics on how well that's done before, and we'll see how that goes."
Oh, great.
And the
Oh, wait.
toys to game thing shot off really well for a point in time. And that's the kind of thing that metrics forces you, is it forces you into the past. You cannot do anything new with metrics. So the Kickstarter thing allowed companies to come up with ways to get around the metrics, and for that I am totally cool with. uh but again, they do have to honor their commitments, they have to honor their promises. Even if they switch to a different publisher, or that publisher comes to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like the
No.
Shenmue team, I think, was just caught in a barrel with that whole Epic Store thing.
No, you should have
Because
seen.
that was all Deep Silver, man.
You should have seen when we were getting talked to by a publisher about like putting Tom and Ari with them, and they had a one really weird demand if it wanted to get
Oh, yes.
into print, into like a print format in stores. I asked them what exactly did they want. I assumed that they probably wanted me to tone down some of the violence, and they tell me, "Oh, we want you to make your characters younger."
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, if they want creative control, then they're going to the wrong place if they're going to indie comics for an IP. Creative
Well,
control.
yeah.
wanted,
Creators,
like,
these are their
kid
hearts and
versions.
souls. That's just pinning to see how much of them, how much of you they can have. That would have
Yeah.
flipped me off right away too. I no.
Yeah, because when he said, "We want you to make your characters younger," I was just like, "Do you see what they are? Why does the age matter?"
Yeah.
It it was just a, because I was thinking, are you even looking at what's
This
here?
grizzled old war hero and this Toon character, yeah, they should be what, teenagers? I mean,
They probably wanted the age them to teenagers or something.
yeah, that doesn't
That
make.
they solve crimes in a mall.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll be honest, that was the main thing that made me say no. I'm not
Yeah,
interested.
no. God no.
Yeah, it just I mean, like, and again, we're going back to the whole metrics thing.
Yeah.
They make these dumbass calls, like, kids need to have things set at school so children so that they can actually identify with them, because no child can identify with anything outside of a school environment. Which is so bizarre, considering that one of the Nickelodeon shows that fought tooth and nail against this whole going to school concept
That was
was
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob
Yeah,
SquarePants.
and he
Yeah,
still
they
ended
had to
up going
reach
to
a
school though.
compromise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
they
still
had to
ended up
reach a
going to school.
compromise on it.
Yeah, but no one talks about that. No one wants to
Yeah.
bring that up. No
Yeah.
kid goes about, oh, and he goes to driving school. No, they all talk about Krusty Krab and talk about his goofy
Yep.
friends.
Yep.
And that's it. That's all they
No,
talk about. No one is
sometimes I
interested
think
in
they
that.
only bring up things like that just to have like an ounce of power, to feel like they
Yeah.
have an ounce of power in the situation.
That's my thinking too. That's exactly what it is. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
if the idea is good. It doesn't matter. They need to know that they have you, and that's
yeah, exactly. That's what it is. And also, I see one
Yeah,
in the comments
it's
here in
just
the chat that says from Morning B. It says, "I mean, by that point, having a crowd and all, why not self-publish? Yeah, that's what you do then. If you have a crowd that has already established that they're willing to basically follow you to hell and back, you take that opportunity, make a campaign, then you should be doing well. But always remember, in that situation, don't ever treat your readers badly. Don't ever screw over your readers. That
that's
is
just a
like,
rule of thumb overall. Even if you were published, in my
you'd be
opinion.
surprised at how many people violate that rule.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I've been in these trenches for a long time. Very many cruel yet passionate people in comics. And that's just that section of art. Overall, in art, you don't mess with your audience. You try to please your audience. They're the ones feeding you. They're the ones enjoying your art. They're the ones allowing you to hopefully make a living, or at least continue your art.
Exactly.
If you disrespect that, then you're disrespecting your own art, which means you don't respect it anymore anyway. So why should anybody?
Exactly. You need these people to stay invested into your story. You should never respond back to your customers when you're mad.
Yes.
They remember those things. I mean, that's the sad thing about it. Look, that's the sad thing about it, is that more people are going to remember the bad things you did than the good things you did. So you could be nice to everyone you meet, but that one time you probably freak out with someone on a public forum, maybe you had a bad day and you said the wrong thing because you were already ticked off. Yeah, people remember that.
Mhm.
yeah, everybody remembers Christian Bale unloading on that guy
Oh
on
man.
the
Yeah.
set of Terminator.
Oh
You're a
man.
nice guy, but we're through.
Yeah, everyone remembers that, but no one wants to talk about the times like, you donate to charities, you talk nicely to people. No, they're just gonna sing over that bad thing you did. Because you gotta remember, on Twitter, people are always fishing for that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
They're fishing for dirt.
Yeah,
There's been no, go ahead, Mike.
yeah. I wanted to say like 2 words: voltage vengers. Look that up. That should be the example of what you should not do if people are asking you when is your next issue coming out? When is your next volume coming out?
Oh
Don't do that.
no. Oh no. Somebody was interested in their work and it went poorly. That's-
Well, it Voltage Vengers is a parody done by the Mega 64 people,
Okay.
uh, poking fun at uh, Linkara's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers analysis videos,
Oh,
and
okay.
apparently he got a little pushy or a little too ranty over people keep asking him, even though it's like, yeah, there's no set schedule, there's nothing going on, please stop asking me. But
Okay.
at the same time, it's like, come on, these are your fans, they're asking you what your when is it coming out. You need to make these signs visible, and at the same time you just have to brush it all off and just accept that these are just enthusiastic fans.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you
No.
just
Stop,
gotta change. You
stop
just gotta.
taking it personally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hell, you should be overjoyed that people are asking you for it.
Yeah, even
That
if you
means
have no
that they.
plans for it, that's what you tell them. It's like, well, if more people like you keep showing up, that would be great. Maybe we can actually financially support it or something.
Oh
Try
yeah,
try and angle
exactly.
it at least.
Oh
Leverage
yeah,
it.
there's nothing wrong with engaging your readers or your watchers like that. Hell, you could ask them for a few ideas if you wanted. If you could like
Yeah,
properly credit them.
or come to them as people. Don't talk
Yeah.
down to them. Don't scold them like like they're your child or
Oh
something.
yeah, you gotta remember, some of these people, they probably look up to you. Actually,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
reached you've reached a threshold that they want to get to one day, And I mean, that's the thing I always remember when I first started writing comics is that I joined a lot of creator circles where everyone was mostly an artist. And when you're like just a writer in these circles, yeah, no one's really looking at you. No one's really looking at you too much.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that they're also looking at you like, oh crap, is he gonna try coming to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like going to the bar. You're wearing your nice pencil protector. You're all decked out in your wonderful nerd gear. You've got your Thundercats Go T-shirt going on, and then it's ladies' night, and that's pretty much the look that every artist is giving you.
Yeah, just like, oh god, are they gonna approach me for an idea to like do their idea? I mean, I've been at like comic creator meets, and like some new writers will come up to me and they'll ask me, how do I get an artist to do work for me? And I just say, all right, do you have money? No. Are they your friend? No. Did you marry them? No. Okay, then you better start learning how to draw yourself then.
Yeah, no, you got to court them one way or another, and just hang around artists you like, even just social media. If you like their art, tell them you like their art. And just communicate. Try to make friends. It's not easy for everybody. It's not easy probably for anybody, honestly. But the efforts, and as long as you're genuine and usually a nice person, it's not going to go wrong.
Oh yeah, that's all you gotta do. You just gotta go up to people, just treat them like a person. You like their stuff, say, hey, buddy, that's pretty cool, buddy. And yeah, just don't think that something big is gonna come out of it. You're just being
Exactly.
nice, just being nice, and everyone likes getting nice compliments. It
Yep.
makes people's day.
It does. It does very much, and it's always just worth that effort too. Just human kindness. It moves mountains. It's a great thing. You never know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
No, we should definitely be nice to everybody, especially involving our gore excessive and violent comic books.
I am.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was like going through the rounds of like, because usually when I'm making a comic, I try to see if there's other comics that have a similar vibe. Because I'm just like, we should totally just kind of support each other. Just follow them, see where they're going with it, and see what works from there. It's worked a little bit with some other people because I've had some people who do unicorn comics or gonna do unicorn comics start following me on Tom and Artie. Same thing with like some people doing comics with cartoon characters. On Byte, not just yet, but then again, I probably haven't found the right people. Someone's been telling me, "Oh, you should totally talk to the guy who does Metal Shark Bro."
Oh yeah.
Eh. And I was just like, "Oh, that comic is awesome, but I can't really just approach him like that."
Well, yeah. I mean, what I do, you follow the person, and then you find a piece of art they like, and opening conversation is very difficult. I would never argue that, but
Yeah,
you've got to learn to have an eye for opportunity, just in business overall, and particularly if you're working on a comic that you're going to have to market. You're going to be doing that. It doesn't matter. You got to have the eyes for opportunity. You can't ignore that. You can't just produce amazing work and expect it to sell itself. It doesn't work. Wish it did. A lot of people would be a lot better off in a way, and a lot less cruelty, I think, a lot less people interacting poorly. But
well, I mean, that's
you
always
got
the
to
main thing
try.
Well, I mean, that's the main thing you always gotta do is that you gotta get yourself out there with
Yep.
people. I mean, I hate making the rounds on Twitter. I rarely look at my wall like 90% of the time, but I still do take some of the time to go through the search function, maybe type in like some new comics, like new comic book day or new indie comics, see what people are making and see what catches my eye. Now you gotta remember, when you follow someone, don't always expect that they're gonna follow you back. Because I know that some people
Oh yeah, no, I
they get
never do.
yeah, some people they get into that really kind of bitchy phase where they're just like, oh, why didn't this person follow me back? Because I followed them. Like, well, maybe they're just not there. Maybe they're busy. I mean, not everyone is checking Twitter all the
Well,
time.
and you have when you start, you have a 5,000 follow limit. I hit that again and again over the last couple months, following others, and some people you just can't. You just can't. You don't. You didn't have the exact amount of interest to fill that for them to make space, and that's okay. You can earn that later. You're following them, so find something.
Oh yeah, and
again,
it's
engage
also
positively.
oh yeah, it's not always just about the follow numbers as well. I mean, yeah, they help because
Yeah.
some people they come onto your page and they say, "Well, this guy's got like 1K followers. Must be a big deal." But it's not always like that. It's nice. It's very nice,
Yeah.
but at the same time, sometimes maybe you get like a lot of followers and they aren't really engaging as much. I've seen
Yes.
people with low follow counts and their people who follow them engage like a crap ton. It's mostly about the engagement to me. Are they liking your stuff? Are they retweeting your stuff? Things like that.
Yeah, and I mean that's all it really takes. I think let's see what's yeah, I think we're gonna close it out here next couple minutes. If there's
All
any
right, cool.
other questions in chat, real quick, I doubt it. I haven't checked for a minute, but it's always worth checking. I always want to make sure the audience got the possible engagement there.
I think it's good right now.
I got you, Gorgonite. Yeah. I almost want to take away your ranch, brother. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, it was true. I will remember that. Oh, there you go. Morning Bee has a quick question. I'll let you guys answer, and then I'll follow up on it. Do you guys have any tips about advertising? Any comic book forums, websites, anything like that?
What I mostly use as advertising are like the base places, which would be Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I know that's not like the entire helpful answer, to be honest, because look, if there was some just like win button in comics, I would be throwing that at you right now as just like smash that as much as you freaking can,
Yeah.
But when it comes to advertising, the most you can do is just try to be consistent with your updates. Talk to as many people you can, get your comic out there, but don't be overtly pushy with it. Like, don't be that guy who just kind of chimes in with their comic out of nowhere
Yeah,
and where like no one called for it, no one asked for
that'll
it.
grind some gears. I've seen that a
Ye-
lot. It doesn't grind my gears too much. I just ignore it. It's just like, oh, okay.
Oh, no,
But I
I've
ignore
seen
it. That's the problem. You don't
Oh, yeah,
if you
there's
do
some
go
people
through the
that will-
effort, you don't want it to be ignored. Find a creative way to engage it. Find things that are
Yeah.
related to your book. Comment
just
on that thing, and then plug your book.
Yeah, go on those Twitter threads where people are like, "Hey, post up your work.
Yeah.
Post up your work and let us see it." Yeah. Don't start advertising your stuff when like another person is already advertising theirs. Like, I'm not gonna go into Cody's post about the newest Jack Irons update and start saying, "Oh, hey, look, new Tom and Artie update." No, you don't do that.
No. And, well, I mean, you can, sure, but it doesn't look good.
Nah.
It doesn't come off good. You're not going to get the reception and engagement you want. It just doesn't happen. And like Rob was saying, I use those same three, mainly Twitter by far. I have no handle on Instagram or Facebook. I used Reddit a little bit for a while.
I
But
used Reddit before, but not as much because
yeah,
I noticed their comic subreddits are kind of, it just feels like if you weren't doing some gag a day comic, then good luck.
yeah, it's tough. It's tough. What actually both Tom and Artie and I do, and Jack Irons do. We also put up the free issues on top, so we have something to point people to that's already done. Work that they can engage with already just by themselves. They don't even have to engage with you to do it. They can just go and look at it and see if it's their thing. That very much has helped me. I'm assuming it has helped you guys as well.
Oh yeah, and find people who are doing work similar to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like if you have a specific genre, if you have a specific character. Like, I mean, for Tom and Artie, I usually would seek out people who are doing comics that star unicorns or have cartoon characters in them.
Yeah, I do
few-
it for westerns and sci-fis or apocalyptic stuff. That's just
Yeah.
It makes it easier. It gives you a foothold with those people too. Something to talk about because you're making this thing. I'm assuming you're
Oh, yeah, it just
you're
becomes-
enjoying the topics and stuff in it. So you're just talking to a person about something you like, and
Oh, yeah,
suddenly it's
and it
promotion.
becomes a regular situation of you guys just seeing each other and going like, "Oh, dude, same shirt. Yeah, same shirt, man." That's what it becomes.
Exactly.
And I've seen a lot of good friendships spark from people because of that.
You
Yeah.
know, I want to say one thing that I kind of feel bad that's gone the wayside has been forums, and
Yeah.
Oh,
specifically,
yeah.
specifically like how you could actually put in like a bumper or like a little tagline at the end of each of your posts. And you could easily put in like, visit my like awesome action, go to awesome action web comics.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I update daily, that kind of thing. And you could just
yeah,
have that at the bottom as your footer. And it used to be really nice. And now you kind of have to like hope that there's some kind of like attachment, um like you could connect a web page
yeah.
to your account or your discourse or whatever, your
Oh yeah, and
discuss.
that's another thing. Always be communicating with your fans as well. Even
Yeah.
if you don't look, here's the thing. If you put up a post, right? It doesn't get any likes or retweets or anything. People still see it. People still read it.
Yep.
Just because they're not just because they're not like liking and retweeting doesn't mean that they're not reading it. They still see it. I've had times where I put up posts and nothing happens from it, and yet when I meet people later at like a meet, they'll tell me, "Oh yeah, I saw you updated your thing." They're so at the same time, it's not always about a numbers game.
Yeah.
Anything you put out there on Twitter, on Facebook, people are gonna read it. They're gonna know what you're up to. They're gonna know what you're saying. They may not engage on there, but they'll know. So always treat your reader base like they'll know what's going on. Even if they don't, even if they aren't, just be kind with it. I mean,
Yeah.
when I did my survey for Tom and Artie, I went out and I was messaging all my readers, and when I was messaging my readers, I went with a simple line, which was just, "Oh, I'm just doing a small survey. Have you read issue 2 of Tom and Artie? And if you have, this will determine if I continue with the questions." And I had some people that say, "Oh, sorry, I haven't kept up with it. I'm sorry, I haven't kept up with it." And I just "Oh, that's fine. It's cool. Thanks for your time." That's what I tell them. I'm not going to get mad at them because they're not reading. Everyone's got
And they'll
different parts of
remember,
their
and
life.
that will remind them to maybe, "Oh, you know what? I enjoy Tom and Artie. I'm gonna go look at that. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
catch up on
exactly.
that." And because you were polite and nice, it adds that extra layer. Like, you know what? That might actually be worth my time right now. I got a couple minutes.
Oh
And
yeah, and also
that's all it
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
takes. That's
Yeah,
all it really
exactly.
takes.
Yeah, if there's one thing about like the whole vocal minority thing, keep in mind most people who are quiet, there's usually a lot of people who are quiet who just like reading the book or just like reading the story or just like participating in it. And they have no interest in going into the forums and complaining about certain characters because pretty much like everything. They're fine with it. And I've seen some cases where I've had a friend who did a webcomic and it was actually based off of some people and it felt very true to their predicaments and their particular issues. And then there's usually very few comments, and sometimes, and in just this one case, somebody just said that this is racist, and and then the my friend just completely bent over and he freaked out. He changed things over. He was already nervous about it, which I feel like if you're going to be nervous about it, don't, why even put yourself in that situation
Oh
if
yeah,
you're
that's
if
that's
you're that
another
afraid
thing.
about that.
Yeah, that's another thing. Have some thick skin as well, because
Yes.
not everyone is going to be nice,
But
and some
there's
people,
just going to be one person, and
yeah.
that's going to be like a very small people who will say something like that. And I told him, like, the next time that comes up, you have to like, the only person who could be your character's advocate is you. You created them, you made this story, you made this world. You have to sometimes stick up for that.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that tenfold. Look, here's the thing about comics, and this is a mistake that I've fallen into as well before, is it's true that a lot of people in comics are linked more than you think. There's a lot of people that know each other that you don't think would know each other. And so sometimes it always feels like you're kind of walking on glass with every person that comes around you. But at the same time, don't be scared to stick up for yourself. If you ever get a situation where maybe another person is kind of talking down to you, you can be polite with it, but you don't have to take crap. You don't have to take crap. You don't have to be telling them off, but you could just thank them for what they said and just move on with your life. A lot of these situations, people just feed off your replies.
Yep.
If you know the conversation isn't worth diving into, or you know it's not going to go anywhere great, just stop engaging. Just stop. Just go off for a little bit, watch a movie, play a game, something like that, and you come back and it's all probably going to have blown over, or nothing's going to have happened because you didn't give them any ammo.
Yeah, that's been my number one key. I've given no one any ammo this entire time, so I haven't had to. I have they can have all the guns they want, but if they can't shoot them, it really makes a big difference. But one quick shout out. Thank you for showing up, El Crudo. He called us a talented panel. I'm very humbled. Thank you so much. I'm not sure
Yes.
if you guys are aware of El Crudo. It's a
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, it's
I
a
know.
great comic. I believe you can order physical issues at the moment through El Crudo, and
Oh, yeah, it's
check it
already on
out.
my,
It's
tablet feed.
an orangutan in Vietnam. It's freaking wonderful. And then he says, "Content is king," and you all have some pretty good content. Thank you so much, El Crudo. I think you do as well. And I
Thank
think
you
Thank you very much.
I think I'm gonna give you guys one last time to go ahead and sell your projects. I'm gonna do the same afterwards, and then I'm gonna go ahead and sign off.
All right. Well, you know me, Robert Livingston. I write the comic Tom and Artie about a unicorn mercenary and his cartoon wildcard friend. You can follow it on Twitter at the tag Artie Tom, and we're updating the comic currently. The last 2 pages of issue 2 are this week, tomorrow and Wednesday, and then
Oh,
we're gonna take a month and a half off to work on issue 3. But if you want to keep up with that, like I said, follow me on Twitter. If you want to keep up with Byte, the Byte comic is over at Byte slash like space comic. And right now we're working on getting the color version of the Ash Can available. While the black and white version of the Ash Can was only set out to a few people, the color version is going to be available for everyone to read. There's going to be
I'm excited.
there's going to be 2 versions of the color version. There's going to be the base English version, and there's going to be a Spanish version. If you know any friends who only speak Spanish, then I can easily just give you the Spanish version if you request it.
Very cool. If you guys are interested too, later at some point, anytime you feel like it, we have a Japanese localization guy on tap. So let me know.
All right.
He actually translates into Japanese.
Yes, he localizes
Awesome.
it, so it also has the right vernacular and all the all that good stuff.
Wonderful, wonderful.
great.
I actually serve as the exact opposite, where
Oh,
I switch over from did a lot of work for that. In fact, since it's the plugging work, I'm actually
yeah.
doing that right now for a quaint little web comic called Letters on the Wall. The artist and the writer, they're from Mexico. They don't quite speak English really well, but the characters shine really nicely, and I really liked it. For those who, it is a kind of like I like to say that it's kind of like uh, a modern kind of John Hughes teen kind of story about a girl coming back to her old hometown and running into her old childhood friend. Yes, it is a LGBT comic.
Eh,
No, the characters are fully fleshed out. They're really
they're people.
wonderful.
That's great.
Oh my God, yes, they're people. I don't like. I mean, you gotta
They're
say it,
not
but at the same
caricatures.
time,
That's so great.
I stand by what they're doing, and I love like what they do with the characters.
Right
So I
on.
just help bring that out, and I've never been really big into that kind of thing where it's like, okay, you want a cookie, but at the same time, this is exactly what I want to see, and be the change you want to see in the world. So I want to see three-dimensional stories that anybody can enjoy, and it isn't just strictly, when are the girls gonna kiss? But it's fun. It's got a little something if you like your romantic comedies and you like a bit of references in that measure, because it doesn't hurt any that one of the main girls used to grow up on watching 80s movies. So that's kind of that's kind of a bonus for me, because hey,
He loves his 80s movies.
Oh, who does it? Who has seen enough? You know.
yeah.
Ah, all right. Well, I'm
There's
Cody
a lot of
Fernandez.
great 80s flicks.
There are
out
so
there.
many, so many. We can get into that another time, folks. Thank you so
Watch
much.
Big Trouble in Little China, kids.
Oh, you've got to. Kurt Russell, almost anything. You'll be set.
Indeed.
All right.
All right. Let's
I'm
close it on
Cody
down.
from IronVerse Comics. Right now we're running our crowdfunder for Cactus Coyote, a alien shapeshifter. He's trying to pay off his debts. He has
I've already put in my pledge.
He has a dimension in his stomach filled with all kinds of random things, and we're gonna extend the campaign. There's a week left. We have some Hail Mary passes coming in with Jack Irons, Steel Cowboy #2's physical edition. Maybe some incentive for my backers to come check a look. Dollar Coins, extreme talent, prolific writer, and he's got about 20 issues of this thing just sitting there. And all we need is the funding. It's a hell of a story. You're going to be starting with the Q Racer arc. It's a race for the control of Spinaroonie Town, one of the few free places in the Ironverse. Also, the most criminal in the Ironverse. And just excellent art by Andrea Boscolo and colors by Stephen Cannon. Go ahead and take a look. You can tell my brain is fried. I love you all, and I'll see you on that old rusty Ironverse trail. Take care, folks.
See ya.